Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel and to my seasonal short stories, as I've decided to call these. I kind of want to get away from the idea of a vlog. Because I always used to think vlogs you had to do lots of stuff, and I think that's quite a bit of pressure to put yourself under, you know? So by calling these little short stories, I think that kind of sets the tone. And today, the sun is shining beautifully, as was a theme in last week's video, or whenever I put my last video up. I'm going to be making some Rocky Road today, specifically cream egg Rocky Road. I have made these once before, a long time ago, and I'm such a cream egg fan. Like, that is the thing that I look forward to each year around Easter, is a cream egg. I'm all right with mini eggs. I do find them quite overly priced for what you get in the packet. But cream eggs are like that's my love. I wish they did them all year round. But then again, I would probably not be very healthy if that was the case. So I'm gonna put this together. Essentially it is butter, different types of chocolate, raisins, rich tea biscuits, glacé cherries, mini marshmallows. But you can obviously, and golden syrup. But to be honest, you could just kind of tailor this to you, because different Rocky Road recipes are different in terms of what you like. So let's get baking. Hello everybody. I wanted to show you some of the books that I've recently bought. I am trying really hard not to buy books, but sometimes the opportunity just comes up and it's a no-brainer, really. I just try and justify it every time, but it's fine. You spend your money on books, that's okay. So this is a little collective haul of books that either are pre-orders, I've gone in to actually buy in store, or I've bought online. So let's have a little look. I think I'm going to leave the best till last, because there is a really beautiful book in here which I am so excited about. So the first book that I'm going to show you is Before Your Memory Fades by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. This is the third book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I recently read Tales from a Cafe and I think it's better than the first book, honestly. And then I heard that this is better than Tales from the Cafe. It just keeps getting better in this series. So while I was after my hair appointment, not this hair, this is Heatless Curls, but when I got my hair cut recently, I wanted to just go and have a little browse around in my town before getting some food, and I fell into Waterstones obviously, and I thought, well, I'll buy the book that's going to be next in the series. So, because I needed to get it at some point, didn't I? Also from that trip into town, I also got Onyx Storm. I'm rubbish with names, we know this already. So this is the third book, obviously, in the Fourth Wing series, and have I read the first book or the second book? Absolutely not. However, this was half price. I'm a sucker for a deal, I'm sorry. Look at these pages. These end pages are just lovely. It's not got a thing on the front, I'm afraid, but that is just everything to me. Does it have one at the back? Is it the same one? Yeah, it's the same one. But I have been wanting to read this series for so long, and I'm kind of glad that I waited to get the third book, because I had been tempted, but I'm glad I waited because I got it half price, so why not? Okay, the next is a pre-order which came, and again, I'm so excited for this. This is the third book in the, is it the library trilogy. Yes, I was right. This is The Book That Held Her Heart by Mark Lawrence. I read the first book, really enjoyed it. It's a lot going on. But I really wanted to carry on the series. Like, I wouldn't say, it's really hard because it's like a really complicated book. Like the last 100 pages are just like, felt like I had to like hold on for dear life. I was like, what is going on? But it really then made me want to carry on the series. So whatever Mark Lawrence did, he achieved. The world is just awesome. Also, this cover is so pretty. Like, this lighting's not doing it justice. It's just got the most beautiful, like, burnt, like, oranges and reds and like anything you'd get from a fire, basically. It's like that type of thing. But yeah, just really excited to get to that. And then lastly, we can tell, can't we? I've just held it upside down. That's ruined the surprise. I got my hands on the beautiful collector's edition of The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I had been putting off getting this because I was like, I haven't read it, but I haven't seen anyone say a bad thing about this series. Like, no one. And no one anyway, in terms of people who I regularly look at reviews for and align with my reading. But in general, I've even like Goodreads, and people have read this, like, it always comes up so highly rated. And I got this in the spring HarperCollins sale, so again, this was half price, and I'm so glad I waited. But this book is just stunning. So obviously that front cover is everything. The sprayed edges, just everything. And then it just keeps getting better. So let's see if we can, there we go. End pages, stunning. Lovely naked cover. And then the illustrations in here, let's try and do it so it's like one where it's not hopefully gonna be a spoiler for myself or you guys. Like, these illustrations in here are just stunning. So I have also got the second one coming, which I pre-ordered as well. So I'm, because as well, I wasn't sure whether we were going to do the whole series or just the first one. So yeah, very happy with that haul right there. We're going to keep on the book theme, I think. And I really want to try and finish annotating The Handmaid's Tale this month. And I think I can do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to light a candle, get a nice drink, sit down and annotate that now before I put dinner on. Hello everybody, I have got a little mini makeup haul for you. I realised that I was missing some things in my makeup collection, and I also try to, any like staples that I have, I try to make sure that I have like a backup. So if I suddenly ran out of mascara, for example, I have got one in my cupboard that I can just grab. I don't know if that sounds really silly, but I used to have so much makeup when I was posting more about beauty content, and I was very lucky and I got sent a lot of lovely stuff. And when I started to kind of move away from that focus so much, I managed to whittle down my collection a huge amount. And I also just found that, you know, I was actually able to use the products, which is really, really nice. I still love beauty. I still love talking about beauty, especially when it comes to sensitive skin, because girly is a sensitive skin girly. But I just found it just so nice, and just to have like not quite a clean slate. So there's some things that I've actually needed to start buying, which is hilarious. So I did a little Sephora shop. First of all, I got a little sample of the Professional products. I have the primer and I really, really love that. It's great for filling in pores. I have some enlarged pores like around my cheeks here, but I didn't know they also did a cleanser, and they also do a little clay mask as well. So I'm excited to try those. I normally find that clay masks can sometimes be a little bit too much for my skin. As I said, I've got sensitive skin. So I'll have a little research into that. And also the cleanser is a foaming cleanser. So I need to do a little bit of research into the stuff, but if it sounds like my skin might like it, then I'll give those a go. If not, I'll pass them on to somebody else. So the thing I needed, as I said, was mascara. So I decided to delve into Rare Beauty because I've heard such amazing things about them. And I got the Perfect Strokes mascara in black. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. So let's have a little look. I love the packaging. It's like a metal packaging. Let's see. There you go. And it's also got the little R on there. And I believe... oh, look at that wand. This is my type of mascara wand. Like thick and bristly. Looks like it's gonna suit me down to the ground. So that's good. And then I had been like delving into some spring makeup. And I recently did like, I either used up or I got rid of some makeup palettes. And what I've been left with, I've realised I don't have anything that's like brightly coloured anymore, which is crazy because I used to have so many brightly coloured eyeshadows. But I wanted some like spring pastel type ones. And so I found the Natasha Denona mini pastel palette, which just looks so cute. I mean, this one will be really, really cool. It's just like a wash all over the eye, but they also have some sparkly ones, which I thought would be really cool. So let's give them a go. I have got a Natasha Denona palette. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got some like khaki golds in there, greens, which are really, really lovely. And they suit my eyes really, really well. So here we go. This is what the little palette looks like. If you're just like going like for a wedding maybe, or you just want something that's just going to be fitting in your handbag, that's just perfect. I think like the blue would be really, really nice. And then you can kind of like make it more evening-y with this colour and this colour. So I just feel like that's going to be a really versatile little spring palette. So there we go. In other news, I have managed to complete my to-do list for the day, which is lovely. And I have a good amount of time before I have to go and teach this afternoon. So before lunch, I'm going to spend some time updating my reading journal. I thought I would show you what my reading journal is currently looking like. Hello everyone, I wanted to fill you in with my April reading, basically what I read in April. I used to do this as a kind of a more long form video, but I thought I would include it in my seasonal short stories and just like give you a little chat through of what I read, because normally I'm able to share like my TBR over on my TikTok. If you're not following me on there, I am Georgie's Book Nook, and I never really kind of flew in with what I ended up actually reading, so I thought I would do that. So I have my reading journal where I've written my little mini reviews, and I remember most of them. Luckily I remember most of the stories, so that's fine. I don't need to kind of like go back and forget, because sometimes I read a book and then I'll read another book and I'll be like, what did I previously read? And what was it about? So I managed to read 6 books in April. I had 1, 2, 3, 4 physical reads. I had 1 audiobook and 1 ebook. So I'm going to talk about them in the order that I read them. The first one being The Sword in the Stone by T.H. White. So as part of one of Celine's book clubs, I can't remember which one, it's either the Book Wanderers or it's Stuff Celine Reads, I can't remember, because I'm in both and I get very confused. We are doing a year-long read of the Once and Future King stories by T.H. White, and they're all about King Arthur. Sword in the Stone, the film, Disney, you'll know, and that is basically what it's based off. So I read the first book, which was The Sword in the Stone, and I really enjoyed it. What did I give it? I gave it a 4.5, and it was interesting to read this because it is written as like a kid's book, but it's also quite mature in the language, which is very interesting. It's a lot of fun. Like, it's real sarcastic British humour, which I loved, and it's a bit silly in some places. It's almost kind of like 40 Towers-esque. That kind of, I know that sounds so silly, but that's kind of what it reminded me of humour-wise. And the interesting thing is that not a lot actually happens. It's kind of more Wart's kind of upbringing and Merlin coming into his life and what he gets up to with Merlin, and there's not really a huge amount of like character building or anything like that, and then suddenly we get to the Sword in the Stone part, and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. But it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I hadn't even really thought of reading this before until this kind of came up in the book club. So I'm really glad I started reading this, and then I'm hoping that either this month or next month I'm going to read the next book, which is The Witch in the Woods. So yeah, really interesting book, a lot of fun. So yeah, that was my first read of April. Now my second read of April was a book that I think I've been reading for about 2 years, because I kind of forgot about it. I was reading King Lear by William Shakespeare. I wanted to try and be reading more plays in my reading, and that was when I started a few years ago and forgot I was reading it, and then I found it in March, sorry, and I was like, oh, I should probably finish reading this. So I finished reading it in April, and I gave it a 4. It's kind of tricky with Shakespeare because it is so famous, like they are such well-known plays, and I think it's really hard to like rate it as a 21st century human. Do you know what I mean? I think that it is so of its time, and it is such a work of art, and I think that it's really hard to say rate it as I would if I was reading something like this, which is on the more modern side. So I kind of don't actively review plays like Jacobean plays and Elizabethan plays, especially when it's a classic like that. Like, I think it's really hard to rate, and as an actor I really appreciate Shakespeare's work and what goes into it, and so for me, like, that's I kind of try, I'm quite biased as such. I know some people will try to read Shakespeare and find it really hard. I also think that the school system has a lot to answer for of how it presents Shakespeare to students, but that's a whole other topic. But I love Shakespeare personally. It definitely wasn't one of my favourite plays, but I did really enjoy it. So there we go. The next book that I read was, well actually I listened to because it was one of my audiobooks, was Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. I'm so sorry, we know, I'm not even addressing names anymore because I'm rubbish. So this is, how can I describe this? It's like Asian lit cozy fantasy, and it's basically about a girl who, she lives in this like alternate universe where she runs a shop with her father, and they collect like different secrets. They trade in secrets and memories from the people who cross over from our world, and something happens to her father, and then she ends up with this person who's come over from our world, and basically this quest begins to find her father, find out what happened. It kind of goes into her past with her mother as well, and essentially they end up hopping to all these different alternate universes and worlds. It kind of reminded me of The Book That Wouldn't Burn in how they end up hopping to different worlds. In fact, it is very similar. So that concept wasn't especially new, but I really liked the worlds that they ended up in, because you actually travelled to different parts of the world, if that makes sense. So I really liked the kind of world building that kind of went along with it. I gave it a 4. Like, I feel like it was more vibey than really kind of a well-constructed fantasy. And I felt like it got a bit confusing because sometimes it branched on a romantasy, but like some bits didn't fit with the cozy vibes. Like sometimes it got a bit spicy, like really suddenly, and then it went back to cozy, and I feel like it wasn't really one or the other. Like it didn't really, I don't think it was a romantasy. Do you know what I mean? But there was some bits where like suddenly we were all naked, and I was like, whoa, okay. So do you know what I mean? Like it didn't quite fit a genre, but I loved the vibes, and it was like a perfect spring vibe book. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but it definitely isn't like a groundbreaking fantasy book. The next physical book that I read was Tales from the Cafe by Toshigazu Kawaguchi, and this is the second book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. I really enjoyed the first book, and I heard a lot of people say that the second book was even better. I said this previously in the previous clip that's in this video, and as I said, I really enjoyed that second book. Like I found it was better than that one, and it's just such a lovely world. It's basically about a cafe where you can travel to the past or the future, as long as you are traveling to meet somebody that has been in that cafe in the past or the future. And they're basically little mini short stories, and there are some that are just so heartbreaking, and some of these ones in particular really got me. Like I nearly cried. So I feel like it just gets better and better, and as you would have seen, I have bought the third book, so I'm very excited to get to that at some point. And they're nice little short books, like they're brilliant ones to like slot in between like a heavier book. So yeah, very excited to get to that one. I gave that a 5 stars, so there we go. The next book was also another short book. I read Killjoy by Holly Jackson. So this is like a mini novella prequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and it's basically about how Pip ends up becoming the murder mystery solving sleuth that she becomes. And I found this one more of a vibey read again. Like I feel like it was really cool to kind of see how she came about these like her interest, and how she like channeled that amazing brain of hers into what she ends up doing in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. But I felt like it was a bit of a, how would I call this? It was almost like made more dramatic than it actually was, and I didn't enjoy that. Like I felt like the end of every chapter ended on a cliffhanger, which then ended up being nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt like Holly Jackson did it so much better in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but I felt like it was just put in for effect, and I don't enjoy that. Like I think that it makes it feel like the book was written without a purpose, Do you know what I mean? But I did really enjoy it, and I really like that we got more of like the side characters of her friendship group, like the kind of broader friendship group she's in. We kind of got to kind of meet them a bit more and get to know them. Yeah, so it was really good. I did enjoy it. I gave it a 3.5, but I'm really glad that I didn't buy the collector's edition of it, because I had been humming and hawing about that, so I'm really glad that I didn't. But I feel like if you're getting into the series, then it's worth a read, and it's only about 120 odd pages, so yeah, it's not gonna completely waste your time. It's definitely not a waste of time, because I did enjoy it. And the last book that I read was The Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Su Lin Tan, and this was an ebook that I read on my Kindle, and this is about the daughter of the Moon Goddess. So the Moon Goddess is basically has been exiled from this place called the Celestial Kingdom, and she is made to stay on the moon and essentially operate the moon and light it every evening. And this is about her daughter, who ends up fleeing to the Celestial Kingdom and hiding her identity, and essentially it's her journey growing up there and what ends up happening to her. And this one, I felt like in the first half I was like, this is gonna be a 5-star read. Like, I was so invested and enjoying it, and the world building was really cool, and I felt like we're starting to get to know the characters, and I loved the different like relationships, and it's kind of like a rags to riches story in a way. And then we got to like the second half, and it started to dip, and I just felt like that care into the world building went, and I felt like everything was starting to become quite surface level, whereas at the beginning everything was like really, like, it was so well thought out and well invested, and I felt like it didn't happen in the second half. So I did bring it down to a 4 stars. I did enjoy it. I definitely will continue with the series. I'm not in like a massive rush to though, but I definitely would continue with it because I did really enjoy it, and I'm interested to see what happens in the next books. But I wouldn't say this is like a favourite, which is a shame because I felt like it was going to be. And I have heard other people say the same thing. So, but it's definitely worth a read. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, 4 stars. And that was most of my reading in April. However, I did start another book, and then into May, I did kind of finish a book. So I'm going to conclude it as May, but it was quite a big chunk of my April reading. And that was The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I feel like I might save this for a May reading wrap up. But I did really enjoy this, I've got to say. She's a beastie book. She's 800 pages, but I did really enjoy it. So that's slightly a spoiler for next month's reading wrap up. I'm gonna end the seasonal short stories here. I hope you really enjoyed it. If you did, do let me know down in the comments below if there was a favourite part to my short stories, one in particular that you enjoyed, and if there's anything that you'd like to see in future videos. I just really am enjoying this format, and if you are, please do stick around and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!